Hello, this is Joanne Hewins from LoveToCreate.typepad.com, and today we are going to make this card. This is using the Mary Mousse bundle that can be paired with the mousse punch. I hope that's not glaring too much for you, but these will be in the holiday catalog. That catalog goes live Tuesday, September the 4th, which is just around the corner. It will be here before you know it. So let's talk about how to make this card. I was inspired by the catalog to make this card. It did have one that used this check, and I just liked the way it looked. So we are going to start with a piece of thick Whisper White cardstock. This is 4 1/4 by 11, and then I have scored it at 5 1/2. I find that when you're using the thick cardstock, it's just better to score it first. You get a much nicer fold. So I'm going to go ahead and use my bone folder to burnish that fold a little bit better. And now I'm going to pull in a trimmer, and what I want to do is trim off 1 inch. You can see this front part is a little bit shorter than the other. So let me bring in a trimmer. I'm going to use this side measurement. I'm just going to put it at 1 inch and then cut that off. Okay, so the first thing I think I'm going to do is go ahead and put this check on. This is a Shaded Spruce color, and it is in the Regals part, or the Regals family, and it is part of the Regals Designer Series paper that is 6 by 6. And I'm just going to glue this on the bottom corner here. Now this measures 1 1/8, and it's going to be by 4 1/4. That's how wide the card is. But I'm just going to put it on there and just trim it from the back to fit. So there we have that done. And the next thing we're going to do is our stamping. So I'm going to start with the tree from Mary Mousse. I'm going to use this larger tree right here, and I'm going to be stamping that in the Shaded Spruce, and that will match my check that I have down there. Okay. So I'm going to ink up my stamp. And I'm going to use my sample here to help me a little bit. Maybe I'll put it over here to the side. And I'm going to stamp this first tree off to the side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now some of these are stamped off. And if I come over here now and add this next tree stamped off, if you'll look at my stamp, you can see there's a line through there, lighter, and then here's a line of dark. If I go over here now and stamp that, you're going to get that line of dark. So I'm going to just go ahead and stamp it again here. When I stamp this next one, I won't go off the page. So there's no line on that one, and I'll just come back right in here and stamp this one the second time. Okay. And then I'm going to go down in here and stamp. None of that went off, so I'm going to come over here and do another one that goes off the side of the page that's stamped off. Okay, there you go with that. And now I'm going to color in the tree trunks. I'm going to be using a crumb cake Stampin' Right marker for this. Now, if I use the blends, it would bleed through to the back of my card, and I don't want that to show. So that's why I've chosen to use the Stampin' Right marker. And I'm just going to kind of go through here and just quickly color in what looks like it could be part of the trunk of the tree. And of course you can't see everything. The branches on the tree cover up a little bit of that, so I'm going to leave some spaces that you can't really see the trunk. And I think while I have that green out, I'll go ahead and stamp the tree. I have a tree on the inside of the card, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and ink it up and put it down here. And I will go ahead and color in that trunk with the Crumb Cake Stampin' Right marker. Now in a few minutes I'm going to pull in the blends for something else, but I wanted to make sure we don't want it to bleed through to the back, and that's why we're using just the marker for that. Okay. The next thing that I'm going to do is stamp the happy birthday. Now, I wanted you to understand that the Merry Moose isn't just for Christmas. I've pulled in the beautiful bouquet, and I'm going to be using the happy birthday from that set. So I'm going to stamp the happy birthday in cherry cobbler. Down here in the corner. Okay, so there's that. And now I'm going to go ahead and stamp with gray granite. And with that stamp set, I'm going to be stamping the little tracks that the moose makes in the snow down here. And then I'm also going to bring in this snow stamp and just stamp these little pieces, little bits of snow here and there. I'm turning it around so it's not always facing the same way. So that takes care of that. Okay, and now I'm ready to stamp the moose. And I'm going to do that on a separate piece of paper. And I'm going to stamp it in early espresso ink. So let me bring in the moose. And we'll stamp that. And then I am going to color this with the blends in Crumb Cake. It doesn't matter if this goes through. I'm going to be punching it out and then adding it to the card. So I'm going to go ahead and color this in. Up here on the top of the antlers where it's a little bit more intricate, I'm going to use this smaller end. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm excited that this catalog has more punches in it than we've maybe had in the past. I love a punch. I love it for class because things get done a little bit faster if you can just punch it out. So this is a good thing, I think. And for the moose, I just colored the whole thing in the white Crumb Cake. I'm going to turn around and use the bigger end now. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of shading with the dark Crumb Cake. So I'm just going to add in some shading here and there. Oops. I don't have my color lifter for me with me right now, so I can't try to fix that, but hopefully it won't be too noticeable after we punch it out. Got in a hurry. And so after I did my highlighting with the darker crumb cake, I've come back over with a lighter crumb cake to color that in a little bit. And then I'm just going to pull in my punch and we'll punch that out. Now it does leave a white area around the mousse. So there's what it looks like. Okay. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue here. My glue is about to run out, but you know, you want to get it all. You don't want to waste any. So I'm just going to glue him over here near the tracks. He'll be in front of the trees. And then we want to make him a little scarf. This little scarf, you can see in the sample here, this little scarf is part of the Mary Mousse set. I'm going to stamp this in the cherry cobbler. And I think I've got room here. Yeah. I just re-inked this pad, so it's pretty dark. And I'm just going to have to bring in my snips, excuse me, to cut this out. So if you'll give me just a minute. And I am leaving just a little bit of white around the outside of this also. It's not going to make a lot of difference because the background of the mousse is snowy. Okay. And then we'll just add that to the card. And this is going to go around his neck down this way. All right, and the only thing left to do is to stamp the inside. For that, I used this stamp set that is called Special Celebrations. And for some reason, I did not get in here with that stamp. I was trying to be so careful, but this is what it would look like on the inside. Hope your day brings just what it should, happiness, health, and everything good. So this would be the finished card. There's really not a lot to this. It's a pretty simple card that can be done pretty quickly, and I kind of like the difference of having just a little bit of the shorter front and the gingham shining here. If you need any supplies, you can get to my online store through lovetocreate.typepad.com. I would love to have your business let me know what I can do for you. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and thank you so much for joining me with this video today. Bye-bye.